You want success? Then kill the comfort that's poisoning your ambition. Discipline is the bridge between where you are and where you're meant to be. No one is coming to save you. No motivation video, no perfect plan, no lucky break. Only you. Your habits, your mental strength, your ruthless discipline. You say you want more from life? Then take control of your mind like a commander takes control of the battlefield. Your mind must obey you, not the other way around. When it whispers, not today, you respond now. When it tempts you with weakness, you shut it down with execution. Stop waiting to feel motivated. Feelings are liars. They come and go. Discipline is truth. It shows up. It gets things done. And it never asks how you feel. You will not rise with your dreams. You will rise with your routines. Discipline turns the invisible into the inevitable. Every rep you don't want to do, every early morning you hate, every temptation you destroy, you are building something unbreakable inside you. You want to be elite? Then do what others won't. Sacrifice what they're not willing to. Or train your mind to love the grind. Train your body to obey your mind. Train your life to bend to your will. Do it tired, do it scared, do it broke, do it anyway. Because when your back is against the wall and every voice says quit, it's discipline, not talent, that will decide your fate. You already have what it takes. You just haven't commanded it. So hack your mind, rewire it for war, or program it for discipline every single day. No more weakness, no more waiting. This is your moment. Get up, lock in, get disciplined, and never stop. Burn the bridge of excuses. Discipline begins when there's no other option but to win. This is not just a motivational phrase. It is a commandment for those who are done living below their potential. It is the first blow to the weak self that whispers excuses every time things get uncomfortable. When you burn the bridge of excuses, you remove the backup plan. You silence the voice that says, if it gets too hard, I'll stop. No, there is no stop. There is only forward. You either succeed or you die trying. That's how warriors think. That's how discipline is born. The mind is a battlefield, and the first enemy you must destroy is comfort. Comfort is the seed of mediocrity. It tells you to stay in bed when the alarm goes off. It tells you to take it easy because you've earned it. But what have you earned, truly? A day of rest for a lifetime of regret? When you allow comfort to lead, you sacrifice greatness. When you burn the bridge of excuses, you eliminate retreat. You remove the soft landing, the safety net, the second option. You force your spirit to rise because now the only way is forward. Now you must win. Discipline is not a feeling, it's a decision. A decision to show up no matter how tired, broken, afraid, or uncertain you are. A decision to shut down the debate between action and laziness before it begins. A disciplined man doesn't wait for motivation. He acts in its absence. He becomes the source of his own fire. And that fire is ignited the moment he declares, I have no other option but to become what I was born to be. Look around you. Everything you admire was built by someone who refused to listen to their excuses. The body you want, the success you crave, the legacy you dream of, they all belong to someone. And the only difference between you and them is discipline. Not intelligence, not background, not luck. Discipline. The ability to outlast, outwork, and outfocus everyone else. The ability to keep showing up long after the initial motivation has died. Your excuses are nothing more than chains, invisible but heavy. Every time you let one slip by, I'll do it tomorrow, I'm too tired, it's not the right time, you wrap another link around your potential. But here's the truth. No one is coming to cut those chains. No mentor, no coach, no video, no book. You must burn them yourself. You must decide that excuses are no longer welcome. That from this day forward, you are the one in charge. Discipline begins when the way back is gone, when you don't leave yourself the option to turn around, when failure is not an escape, but a step forward, when you replace if I can with I must. And if you fail forward, not back. You don't run home. You don't start over. You get up, grind harder, get stronger, and continue the mission. Because discipline doesn't negotiate, it doesn't compromise. It doesn't take a day off. It demands full commitment, and it pays in results. If you want to change your life, stop trying to bargain with your weaknesses. Stop trying to schedule your greatness around comfort. Greatness demands everything. And you can't give everything if you're still keeping the bridge intact, just in case it gets too hard. Let others keep their safety nets. Let others keep their plans B, C, and D. You burn the bridge. You give yourself no exit. You lock into the path, and you fight for every inch. The mind adapts when it's cornered, when it has no choice but to rise. When you strip away your distractions and silence the voices of doubt, you'll hear a deeper voice, the one buried under years of fear and wasted time, the voice that says you were made for more. That voice only gets louder when there are no exits. That voice only becomes your reality when you stop running back to what's easy. From this moment on, treat your discipline like oxygen, not optional. Essential. Your goals don't care how you feel. Your future doesn't care how busy you are. You either show up or you don't. You either build or you break. You either win or you rot in the regret of excuses. That is the raw truth. And once you accept it, everything changes. Your energy changes, your decisions change, your life changes. You are capable of more than you've shown the world. But capability means nothing without consistency. Without discipline, you will watch your potential rot while others with less talent pass you by. And every time you skip a step, every time you take the easy way out, you feed your weakness. But every time you do the hard thing, every time you refuse the excuse, refuse the shortcut, refuse the delay, you become more. You evolve. You harden. You elevate. Burn the bridge and you will walk the path of no return. And that path, painful, lonely, relentless, is where champions are made. So do it now. Burn it all. Leave no way back. And give everything to the grind that will shape your future. No way back. No excuses. Only forward. Your mind is your master and your slave. Command it before it commands you. That single truth will define your rise or your destruction. If you do not take control of your thoughts, they will take control of you. And once they do, they will twist your strength into weakness, your ambition into fear, your focus into distraction. The mind is the most powerful weapon you have, but it is also the most dangerous enemy if left undisciplined. Your mind is not neutral. It's not passive. It's constantly working, constantly forming narratives, reactions, desires, doubts. And if you are not at the helm of that machine, it will drive you straight into mediocrity. You must train your mind with the same intensity as you train your body, daily, deliberately, and without mercy, because an undisciplined mind doesn't care about your goals. It only cares about comfort, avoidance, and survival. But you weren't born just to survive. You were born to dominate. You were born to rise. Every man is governed by two forces, the voice of power and the voice of pity. The voice of power pushes you to rise early, to do the uncomfortable, to face the resistance head on. The voice of pity tells you to wait, to rest, to delay, to protect your feelings. One voice wants you to evolve, the other wants you to stay the same. If you don't intentionally command the dominant voice, your mind will default to weakness. It will serve comfort, not conquest. Your thoughts shape your reality, not in some vague mystical sense, but in real, practical execution. What you think determines what you feel. What you feel shapes what you do. What you do becomes who you are. So if you allow your mind to be full of self-doubt, laziness, hesitation, anger, jealousy, that is the identity you will build. But if you seize control and discipline your thoughts with clarity, purpose, and focus, you will forge a mind that works for you, not against you. Every action begins in the mind. Every hesitation, every delay, every act of weakness is born in a thought that went unchecked. That is why mental discipline is the root of all power. Before you can dominate your goals, your schedule, your habits, you must dominate your mind. You must filter every thought through a lens of strength. Does this thought serve my mission? Does this belief make me sharper, stronger, more focused? If not, destroy it, replace it, rewire it. Because the man who can shape his mind can shape his future. Too many people are prisoners in a cage built by their own thinking. They're trapped in stories they didn't even choose, stories of failure, fear, worthlessness. But you don't have to accept that script. You can rewrite it. You can take back control. You can train your mind to see opportunity in challenge, growth in struggle, fuel in failure. You can command it to keep moving when everything inside you screams to stop. That is the essence of true strength, not in muscles, but in mentality. There will be days when your emotions try to overthrow your mission. days when your feelings demand rest, distraction, or escape. That's when you remind yourself your mind is a tool, not your master. You don't ask it how it feels. You tell it what to do. You set the course. You dictate the pace. You decide what gets done, regardless of how tired, stressed, or uncomfortable you are. You want to be unstoppable? Then control the one thing no one else can touch, your inner world. The outside world will always be chaos, delays, problems, critics, setbacks. But if your inner world is ruled with discipline, the chaos won't break you. You'll stand tall. You'll move with precision. You'll act without hesitation. Because the man who commands his mind cannot be broken by circumstance. It doesn't matter where you start. It doesn't matter what hand you were dealt. If you learn to master your mind, you can flip your entire life. Every limitation can be shattered. Every fear can be overridden. Every obstacle can be turned into fuel. But it starts with the decision, I will no longer be a slave to my thoughts. I will lead them. I will discipline them. I will command them. And you do it daily. You don't wait for the perfect moment. You don't wait to feel ready. You start now. You start ugly. You start when you're tired, when you're angry, when you're lost. Because that's when it matters most. That's when your mind will try to reclaim power, and that's when you take it back over and over again, until your mind learns it no longer gives orders, it follows them. In the end, the war is not out there, it's inside. The enemy is not time or people or failure. The enemy is the part of your mind that resists greatness, and your job, your mission is to conquer it every morning, every minute, every thought, until the only voice left is the one that leads you forward. Master your mind, or it will master you. And if it does, it will steal your future, rob your peace, and bury your potential. But if you command it, if you sharpen it, if you forge it in fire, then there is nothing you cannot become, nothing you cannot overcome, nothing you cannot build. Because the man who rules his mind rules his world. Desire is nothing without discipline. It's the grind that forges greatness. Everyone wants something. Everyone has dreams. But the difference between the ones who dream and the ones who achieve is simple: discipline. Desire alone is weak. It burns bright for a moment, then fades when things get hard. But discipline is the fire that keeps burning even when the fuel runs out. It doesn't care how you feel. It doesn't ask for inspiration. It shows up every single day. You say you want success, you say you want to be great, then prove it. Not with your words, not with your feelings, not with your intentions, but with your actions, day after day, rep after rep, showing up when it's boring, pushing through when it's painful. That's the difference. That's where the real transformation happens, in the grind that no one sees, the hours that no one applauds, the sacrifices no one understands. People talk about passion like it's enough, but passion without discipline is just noise. It's empty energy. It fades as soon as things don't go your way. Discipline is what stays when passion disappears. It's what drives you forward when motivation is nowhere to be found. It's the quiet commitment to a process that works, even when your emotions scream for escape. Discipline is loyalty to your purpose, no matter the cost. You don't rise to the level of your desire. You fall to the level of your habits. If your habits are weak, your results will be weak. If your discipline is shaky, your future is uncertain. But if you lock in, if you structure your life around execution instead of emotion, nothing can stop you. You'll become the type of person who doesn't just dream about greatness, you earn it. This world is full of talented people who never made it, full of brilliant minds who couldn't stay focused, full of potential that never became reality. Why? Because they lacked discipline. They had the hunger, but not the consistency. They had the vision, but not the grind, and no one is coming to hand you discipline. You build it. One brutal morning at a time, one hard choice at a time, one ignored excuse at a time. Discipline means doing what you said you'd do, long after the mood you said it in has left you. It means showing up when you're tired. It means choosing to work when no one's watching. It means respecting your future self enough to suffer now so you don't suffer later. Because the pain of discipline is temporary. The pain of regret lasts a lifetime. There are no shortcuts, no cheat codes, no secret formulas. There is only the grind, the slow, painful, repetitive process of mastery. That's where the winners are made. Not in some burst of brilliance, but in the boring consistency of doing the right thing again and again and again. While others are distracted, you're locked in. While others are relaxing, you're building. While others are hesitating, you're moving forward. You need to get real about your goals. Stop saying you want it if you're not willing to pay the price, because every goal has a cost. And that cost is paid in discipline, not once, every day. You don't pay it and you don't get the result. It's that simple. You either choose the hard now or you suffer the harder later. You either grind through the process or you choke on regret. And let me tell you this. When you start living with discipline, everything changes. Your energy shifts. Your confidence grows. Your mind sharpens. You start to respect yourself because you're keeping promises to yourself. You stop living like a victim of your circumstances and start living like the architect of your life. You realize that the grind isn't a burden. It's a blessing. It's the path that separates the average from the extraordinary. The grind is not glamorous. It's early mornings, late nights, sore bodies, tired eyes, lonely days, and thankless effort. But that's the price of greatness, and only the disciplined will pay it. Only the obsessed will wake up before the sun and go to work when no one cares. Only the focused will say no to distractions, no to weakness, no to comfort, all for a result they can't even see yet. So if you have desire, good, but back it up with discipline. Build a routine that ignores your moods. Set standards so high they scare you. Then hold yourself to them no matter what, because desire might start the engine, but it's discipline that drives the car. And if you want to go anywhere that matters, you better be ready to take the wheel and never let go. Your greatness is waiting, but it's not coming to you. You have to go get it. You have to outlast, outwork, and outdiscipline everyone around you. That's the formula. That's the edge. That's the grind. Desire without discipline is fantasy. Discipline without excuses is destiny. Choose wisely, then act every day without fail. Success bows only to those who show up every day, especially when it's hard. It doesn't yield to talent alone or dreams or moments of brilliance. It doesn't respond to people who work hard when it's easy. It responds to consistency, to grit, to relentless discipline when every part of you wants to stop. That's the difference. That's the line that separates the ones who wish from the ones who win. The world is full of people who showed up once, who tried hard for a day, a week, a month, and then disappeared when the fire died out. But success is not impressed by short sprints. It's impressed by endurance. It respects the one who shows up when it's boring, when it's lonely, when it's painful, when no one is watching, and when there's no applause. That's the warrior. That's the one who earns it. Because it's easy to be motivated when things are going well, when you feel good, when you're winning. But what about the days you wake up exhausted, discouraged, or empty? What about the days nothing works, when your efforts feel invisible and your results are nowhere to be found? Those are the days that define you. Those are the days that make or break your future. Success watches what you do in the dark. It watches what you do when you don't feel like it. It watches how you respond when life punches you in the mouth. Do you stay down? Do you retreat into comfort? Or do you show up anyway, bruised, battered, exhausted, and focused? The harsh truth is this. Most people quit too early, not because they couldn't succeed, but because they weren't willing to keep showing up when it wasn't fun. They couldn't stomach the silence. They couldn't endure the process. They let the grind break them instead of shape them. But you're not most people. You are built for this. You were born to endure. Showing up doesn't mean you're always at your best. It doesn't mean every day is perfect. It means you commit to the mission, even when you're at your worst. It means you move forward, tired, scared, unsure, because the goal is bigger than your feelings. The man who shows up regardless of emotion is the man who will always find a way. Think of every great athlete, every great thinker, every great creator. Behind the fame, behind the results, was a routine so brutal, so consistent that most people would never survive it. They didn't rise by chance. They rose by showing up when the excuses piled high, when their bodies failed, when their minds cracked, when everyone else folded. They stayed. They kept coming back. And it's not about motivation. That's a lie people tell themselves to justify their inaction. Motivation is a fleeting spark. Discipline is the daily fuel. If you wait to feel ready, you'll wait forever. The winners don't wait. They show up. Broken, they show up. Discouraged, they show up. Sick, tired, doubting, alone, they still show up because they know something the quitters don't, that every rep, every step, every action stacks. And when you stack enough, success has no choice but to bow. Success is not given. It's not handed out to the hopeful. It's earned by the relentless. It belongs to those who refuse to quit, to those who understand that greatness doesn't announce itself. It's built one unglamorous day at a time, one cold morning, one late night, one painful rep, one hard choice after another. That's how it's done. There will be days when you want to give up, days when the voice inside you will scream for comfort, will beg you to stop, to take a break, to come back later. But that voice is a liar. That voice is weakness. You silence it by action. You silence it by showing up anyway. You silence it by proving that your purpose is stronger than your pain. Consistency will destroy resistance. Repetition will drown out fear. Effort will bury doubt. But none of that happens unless you keep showing up over and over, until success has no room to hide, until the results have no option but to surface. You chase it until you catch it or die trying. So when you're tempted to skip, to coast, to delay, remember this. Every time you show up when it's hard, you separate yourself from the pack. You create distance. You gain ground. You earn something inside of you that no one can take. The identity of someone who doesn't quit. Someone who doesn't need permission. Someone who commands success by sheer force of will. It's not the one who starts fast. It's the one who refuses to stop. It's the one who bleeds for the process. The one who keeps showing up day in, day out, no matter what. That's the one who wins. So ask yourself this, are you waiting for it to get easier, or are you ready to become stronger? Are you living for comfort, or are you showing up for greatness? Because success doesn't care about your excuses. It only recognizes your actions. Show up every day, especially when it's hard. That's the price. Pay it without hesitation. Pain is temporary, but the habit of quitting is permanent. Crush it. The discomfort you feel right now will fade. The soreness in your body, the pressure in your mind, the sting of failure, it will all pass. But the decision to quit, that leaves a scar. It becomes a pattern. It becomes a mindset. It becomes a reflex that shows up every time life gets hard. And if you don't destroy it, it will destroy everything you were meant to build. You must understand this. Quitting doesn't just stop progress. It rewires your identity. It whispers to your subconscious that your limits are real, that it's okay to retreat, that failure is final. And every time you quit, it gets easier to quit again. It becomes less of a decision and more of a habit, a default setting, one that eventually infects every part of your life. But pain is not your enemy. Pain is a messenger. Pain is a signal that growth is near. Pain is the price of transformation. It shows up to test your commitment, to separate the pretenders from the relentless. And you must not run from it. You must face it, endure it, and rise through it. Because pain is how you level up. Quitting is how you stay stuck. You have to stop seeing struggle as a sign that something is wrong. It's not wrong. It's necessary. It's part of the path. The road to greatness is paved in hard days, long nights, failure, setbacks, and self-doubt. But none of those things can stop you unless you quit. That's the only way you lose. That's the only way the pain wins. Think about the strongest people you admire. They weren't made by success. They were made by moments where everything screamed stop. And they didn't. They showed up again. They fought through again. They refused to bow down to the pressure. They decided that the pain of discipline was better than the lifelong ache of regret. And that decision made them unbreakable. You will be tested. Life will push you. It will give you every reason to fold. You'll feel tired. You'll feel behind. You'll feel like it's not working. That's when most people give in. That's when most people say, maybe this isn't for me. But you are not most people. You don't quit when it's hard. You double down. You lean in. You tell the pain, you will not break me. There's a moment in every battle where it would be easier to walk away. A moment when the mind screams for relief, when quitting feels like a gift. That's the turning point. That's where warriors are made. Because if you can push past that breaking point once, you become stronger. Do it twice, and it becomes a habit. Do it every day, and you become unstoppable. You have to train your mind to stop negotiating with weakness. Don't even entertain the thought of quitting. Shut it down the second it shows up. Replace it with action, with discipline, with forward motion. Because the mind will take the path of least resistance unless you force it to obey. And if you don't command it, it will convince you to run every time pain knocks. So what if you fail? So what if it hurts? So what if it takes longer than you expected? You're not in this for comfort. You're in this to conquer, to build a version of yourself that doesn't fold, that doesn't break, that doesn't back down. That's the real win. That's the real reward, not just achieving the goal, but becoming the kind of person who never quits. Don't let temporary pain cost you a permanent destiny. Don't give up the long game for a short break. The pain you feel now is fuel. It's refining you. It's chiseling away the weakness. It's preparing you for the level you say you want to reach. But you'll never get there if you keep pressing pause every time it hurts. You have two choices, suffer now or suffer forever. Suffer the discipline, the sacrifice, the sweat, or suffer the regret, the doubt, the missed potential. One path leads to power, the other leads to disappointment. And the line between the two is drawn at the moment you feel like quitting. Every champion you know has a graveyard of pain behind them, 1,000 days where they didn't want to keep going and did. That's what it takes. That's what it will always take. So stop chasing easy, stop hoping for painless, chase resilience, chase consistency, chase mastery, and let the pain come, because it won't stay forever. But the strength it builds will. The habit of quitting is a lie dressed as relief. It tells you you're protecting yourself, but it's robbing you, robbing your future, robbing your growth, robbing your identity. And you must crush it now before it hardens into who you are. So the next time it hurts, remember this: pain is the path, quitting is the prison. And only one of them leads to greatness. Or keep going no matter what. You will never feel ready. Start anyway, start ugly, start now. That's the brutal truth no one wants to admit. Readiness is a myth. The perfect moment doesn't exist. The stars will not align. Fear won't magically disappear. Clarity won't land in your lap like a gift. And confidence, it doesn't come before action. It's built through action. If you wait until you feel ready, you'll be waiting for the rest of your life. This is where most people lose. They think they need more time, more preparation, more research, more reassurance. But what they really need is movement, a decision, a step. The courage to begin with shaky hands and an uncertain mind. Because the first step is always uncomfortable, always awkward, always ugly. That's why it's powerful. That's why most avoid it. But if you want growth, if you want results, if you want to change your life, you must start before you feel ready. Think about it. No champion started polished. No leader started perfect. No master started confident. They all began the same way, unsure, scared, and unqualified. But they moved, they took messy action, they failed forward, and every failure, every misstep, every rough start carved them into something better, something sharper, something stronger. If they had waited to feel ready, they'd still be waiting, and so will you if you don't move now. The fear you feel, that's not a stop sign, it's a signal. A sign that you're pushing against the edge of your limits. That means you're in the right place. Growth lives on the border of discomfort. Every time you feel unqualified, overwhelmed, or underprepared, you are standing at the gate of your next level. The only price to get through is the courage to begin anyway. Starting ugly is not a weakness. It's a weapon. It shows you're not afraid to be seen starting small. It proves you're more committed to progress than perfection. While others hide behind excuses, you build through execution. You show up even when the odds aren't in your favor, even when the plan isn't clear, even when the voices in your head scream that you're not good enough. The people you admire, the ones doing what you dream of, they're not more special than you. They just started. While you were hesitating, they were creating. While you were overthinking, they were building. While you were getting ready, they were already in motion. And now the gap between you grows, not because you can't catch them, but because you won't move. Start anyway. You don't need a fancy setup. You don't need the best gear, the perfect conditions, or all the answers. What you need is grit, discipline, a willingness to show up and do it wrong, do it badly, do it scared, but do it. That action, that ugly, awkward, messy action, is what will separate you from the ones still talking about it. Because the truth is, waiting to feel ready is just fear in disguise. Fear pretending to be logic. It whispers, not yet, because it knows once you start, it loses power. Once you move, once you commit, once you create momentum, fear has nothing left to hold on to. But you must make that first move. You must silence the inner critic by doing exactly what it says you can't. No one is going to give you permission. No one is coming to tell you it's your time. It becomes your time the moment you take it. The moment you stop waiting and start acting, that's when life starts to move. That's when doors open. That's when clarity comes, not before, after. Clarity follows action. Confidence follows action. Results follow action. So let go of this idea that you need to be ready. You won't be. No one is. Let go of the need to be perfect. You won't be. No one is. What you can be is committed. What you can be is in motion. What you can be is relentless. That's what creates success. Not genius, not luck, not ideal timing, just raw, uncomfortable, imperfect action. You'll make mistakes. You'll embarrass yourself. You'll fail in public. Good. That's part of the price. That's part of the path. And every time you do, you'll grow stronger, sharper, wiser. Until one day, the thing you once feared becomes second nature. The thing you once avoided becomes your strength. But it won't happen unless you start. There's someone out there with less talent than you, less education, fewer resources, and they're doing it. Why? Because they started. Because they didn't wait. Because they chose to bet on themselves when it was messy and uncertain. That's the mindset you need. Not tomorrow, not next week, not someday. Now. Start with what you have. Start with where you are. Start while your voice shakes. Start while your hands tremble. But for the sake of your future, for the sake of your purpose, start. The road won't be clean, but it will be worth it. The results won't be instant, but they will be real. And the fear won't go away, but you'll become someone who can face it. So stop waiting for permission. Stop waiting for signs. You are the signal. You are the answer. You will never feel ready. Start anyway, start ugly. Start now. Discipline is not punishment. It is permission to claim your destiny. The world has lied to you. It told you discipline is suffering, that it's restriction, that it's the death of freedom. But the truth is exactly the opposite. Discipline is not a cage, it's the key. It doesn't limit your life, it unlocks it. It's not the chains around your potential, it's the path to finally stepping into who you were always meant to be. Every great achievement begins with discipline. Not talent, not luck, not passion. Discipline. The ability to say no to distractions, to stand firm when others fold, to delay the comfort of now for the greatness of tomorrow. That's not punishment. That's power. That's self-respect. That's control over your fate. Without discipline, you become a slave to your impulses. But with it, you become the architect of your future. Most people think freedom is doing whatever you want, whenever you feel like it. But real freedom is earned. And it's only earned through discipline. The freedom to wake up with energy, the freedom to live with confidence, the freedom to look in the mirror and respect the person looking back, because you didn't take shortcuts, because you kept the promises you made to yourself. Discipline is the decision to choose growth over comfort. It's saying, I want more from this life, and I'm willing to pay the price to get it. Not just once, every day, because discipline is not an event, it's a lifestyle. It's a contract you sign with yourself and renew every morning, and each time you honor it, you add to the foundation of your legacy. If you look at anyone who has built anything of value, a business, a career, a body, a mindset, it wasn't built on convenience, it was built on discipline, the kind that shows up after failure, the kind that keeps moving when no one's watching, the kind that doesn't make excuses, doesn't wait for motivation, and doesn't beg for validation. That kind of discipline is what separates the winners from the watchers, the creators from the consumers, the fulfilled from the forgotten. Every time you choose discipline, you cast a vote for the person you're becoming. You train your mind to submit to purpose, not emotion. You harden your will. You deepen your character. You become the kind of person that others can't break because you don't break your own word. And when life hits, as it always will, discipline becomes your shield, your edge, your anchor. It doesn't matter what goals you have, physical, financial, spiritual, emotional. Discipline is the universal currency required to pay for them all. You want a strong body? Discipline. You want mental clarity? Discipline. You want a life of purpose, freedom, and meaning? Discipline. No hacks, no secrets. Just that quiet daily war with comfort and the choice to win. Yes, it's hard. It's supposed to be. If it were easy, everyone would have it. But look around. Most people are lost in pleasure and buried in regret. They chase ease and end up empty. They avoid the short-term pain of discipline and trade it for the long-term suffering of mediocrity. But not you, because you see discipline for what it really is. Permission. Permission to rise. Permission to lead. Permission to become something rare in a world that settles for average. When you live with discipline, your life starts to align. Your habits align, your mindset aligns, your goals don't just live on paper, they live in your actions. That's when your destiny starts to wake up. That's when the life you talk about begins to take form. You don't chase it, you become it. And every small act of discipline is a brick in that foundation. There are no shortcuts. No one is going to hand you greatness. You have to claim it. And discipline is the claim. It's the evidence that you're serious, that you're not just wishing, you're working, that you're not just interested, you're invested. It's what separates the hopeful from the unstoppable. And here's the truth, the world bows to the disciplined, because discipline creates results, and results don't lie. They don't care about your story, your excuses, or your intentions. They care about your execution. They care about what you actually do, especially when it's hard. Discipline is what makes sure you don't fold when pressure rises. It ensures you don't waste time, talent, or opportunity. It builds you into someone who can handle success and not be destroyed by it. So stop thinking of discipline as suffering. Start thinking of it as liberation, as permission to walk away from the noise, the weakness, the compromise. Permission to dominate your path instead of drifting through life half asleep. You don't need another plan, another goal, another motivational quote. You need discipline, brutal, relentless, daily discipline, because that's what transforms intention into reality. And that's what gives you the right to say without apology, this life is mine, and I earned it. Every act of self-control builds a legacy. Stack bricks, not regrets. That's how greatness is built, not all at once, not in explosive moments of glory, but in the quiet, unseen choices that most people ignore. Every time you say no to weakness, every time you silence the impulse, every time you choose discipline over distraction, you're stacking a brick. You're laying down the foundation of something real, something lasting, something that will echo far beyond the moment. The problem is, we live in a world that worships immediate gratification, quick results, fast success, instant pleasure. But all of that comes at a cost, and the cost is your future. The cost is your peace. The cost is your potential. You might feel good for a moment, but you wake up tomorrow with one more regret on your shoulders. And regret is heavier than discipline will ever be. Every moment of self-control is a choice to rise, a choice to lead yourself, a choice to say, I won't be ruled by comfort. I won't be enslaved by craving. I won't trade my long-term vision for short-term satisfaction. That mindset separates the winners from the wasted. That mindset builds legacies. People think legacy is built in public, in big wins, loud applause, shiny trophies, but that's just the result. The real legacy is built in the dark, when no one's watching, when you could cheat but you don't, when you could skip it but you won't, when the temptation is screaming in your ear and you crush it with a calm no. That's the power of self-control. That's what builds the kind of life that others look at and wonder, how did they do it? You already know the truth. You don't need more information. You don't need more motivation. What you need is to control the only thing that ever mattered, yourself, your thoughts, your reactions, your impulses, your habits, because if you can't control you, nothing else matters. Not your talent, not your goals, not your dreams. They'll all collapse under the weight of undisciplined decisions. This is about more than just hitting goals. It's about becoming someone you respect, someone you admire, someone your future self will thank. Self-control is how you earn that. It's how you move from average to exceptional, from wandering to focused, from soft to unshakable. And the cost? It's high. You'll lose comfort, ease, and the illusion of freedom. But the reward is everything. You don't build a legacy by accident. You build it by mastering your choices. You build it by recognizing that every small decision is a brick, and you're either building a strong fortress or a fragile pile of regrets. Choose wisely, because those little decisions stack fast. One late night turns into weeks of poor sleep. One skipped workout turns into a year of neglect. One scroll through your phone turns into hours of wasted potential. But here's the truth, it works both ways. One disciplined act turns into momentum. One good decision turns into pride. One step in the right direction turns into a habit that transforms your life. So ask yourself, what are you stacking today? Are you stacking strength or stacking shame? Are you building the life you talk about or just fantasizing while feeding your weakness? That answer is found in the tiny moments, the silent battles, the private decisions that either harden your mind or hollow it out. Self-control is how you dominate those moments. It's how you win the war no one else sees, not once, but daily, because every day life will offer you an easy out. And every time you reject it, you take back power. You become sharper, stronger, clearer, and you add one more brick to the legacy you're building. The ones who win long-term are not the ones who feel the most inspired. They're the ones who act the most disciplined. The ones who know that emotion is fleeting, but habits endure, that cravings fade, but consequences don't, that the strongest man is the one who can lead himself, especially when no one else is leading him. This is not about being perfect. You will slip, you will stumble, but every time you rise and choose control again, you're proving to yourself that your mission matters more than your comfort. And that matters. That stacks, that leaves a mark. You're not just living for today, you're building something, a body of work, a mindset, a legacy. And every moment of self-control is another brick in that masterpiece. The work is invisible now, but soon it will be undeniable. They'll see the results, they'll see the strength, they'll see the vision, and they'll call it discipline, consistency, willpower, but you'll know the truth. It was self-control in the quiet, in the lonely, in the hard. So stack your bricks. Let others chase comfort. Let others pile up regrets. You build. You rise. You master yourself. Because every act of self-control is not just a decision, it's a legacy in the making. The man who can master mornings will master life. Why? Because how you begin anything determines how you end everything. The morning is where battles are won long before the world even wakes up. It is in those sacred hours, when the rest of the world is silent, that greatness is built, mindset is shaped, and the tone of your entire life is set. You either command the morning, or you get commanded by the chaos of the day. There is no in-between. Mornings are not about routines. They are about reclaiming control. When you rise early with intention, you take the reins before the world hands you its distractions, demands, and noise. Most people roll out of bed like slaves to their emotions, already late, already scattered, already losing. But the few, the warriors, the leaders, the ones who dominate their field, they rise with purpose. They begin while others sleep. They prepare while others procrastinate. And they gain ground before anyone else has even started. Discipline in the morning multiplies throughout the day.